Most car drivers, pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists haven't driven a truck, ever, making it difficult to understand the challenges truckies have in dealing with blind spots, stopping distances and the rollover risk for such large vehicles. Here's a few things to consider when it comes to interacting with other road users. Studies show that heavy vehicle dimensions, shape and weight influence other road users' behaviours and alter interactions. For instance, causing unnecessary acceleration or deceleration to avoid being too close to a truck. Small vehicle drivers adapt their driving behaviour when driving close to a heavy vehicle, which some researchers have referred to as driver discomfort level. Studies in Europe have identified that the direct vision between heavy vehicle drivers and vulnerable road users is a critical factor to prevent fatal and serious injuries in urban centres. There are a number of high-risk scenarios. For instance, Australian Records reported in 2020 that 19% of pedestrian deaths and 22% of cyclist deaths involved a heavy vehicle. It's not only truck dimensions and characteristics. For instance, being in certain locations can increase crash risk. Heavy vehicles on the road, both moving or when parked, impact greatly on other road users' decisions. Intersections in urban areas are high crash risk locations for heavy vehicles. Not only are there more pedestrians and cyclists, but also due to vehicle blind spots, identifying their change in trajectory can prove challenging. Truck drivers have been found to negotiate these encounters by adapting their behaviour. For example, slowing down and glancing when seeing pedestrians and cyclists. Yet identifying them in the first place is often a challenge in itself. Additionally, overtake manoeuvres by small vehicles when a heavy vehicle requires 2 lanes to turn left can increase crash risk, and recent studies demonstrate that visual illusions could have a higher influence on road collisions than previously expected. Not only can blind spots and lack of visibility prevent drivers from seeing objects on the road, but some visual mechanisms can fool us into thinking that we've seen everything, underestimating the proximity and approaching speed of other road users. Choosing to remain calm when facing stressful situations on the road only takes seconds, but it can save lives.
You have to drive for everyone else. You just have to drive for everyone else. If you start driving thinking about the time I've got to get there, or what you anticipate to get, like, oh, I've got to do this load so I can get the next load or whatever, you're gone. You just got to do what you got on, what load you've got on, just get that load there safe, and then just move on to the next one. Because if you think too far ahead, you'll go home stressed, anxiety, you'll have and the roads, as you know, with traffic, you can get very caught up in it all.
I think a lot of problems is cars trying to get around trucks, cutting off other cars in the next lane, which slows that lane down. So they try to cut back into the opposite lane again. Instead of just sitting behind the truck, waiting for the truck to get up to speed, and then the lane can flow properly, they just want to cut around them.
What would you say to a motorcyclist?
Oh, motorcyclists as well. So I would say to them, ride it like a truck. So watch what everyone's doing. Don't assume people have seen you. Don't assume people are going to stop for you. Just understand that in a bike it's hard to stop, like a truck. A truck's hard to stop. So when I'm riding my bike, I do like I'm driving the truck. When I come up to side streets, continually watching if a car's going to come straight out of that side street. So ride the bike like it's a truck. You know, watch whatever, because you've got to watch what everyone's doing around you.
Just be patient with the trucks. They're trying to get to their spot as well, where they need to go. Just be aware that we may not see you. If we so-called cut you off, maybe we didn't see you, we didn't know you were there.
It's better to be safe than sorry. Trust your gut when you pick up strange behaviour in another road user. Scan your surroundings, look for what may be out of place, and drive carefully. Know your vehicle characteristics and get familiar with crossings and intersections with high numbers of pedestrians and cyclists, especially in urban areas. And drive to the conditions. Remember, you are driving a large-size vehicle, and that can influence other road users' behaviours around you. Expect the unexpected. In urban areas, check your mirrors constantly and expect pedestrians and cyclists at every intersection. Importantly, don't let it get personal. In stressful situations on the road, ask yourself, how do I feel? Why? And what am I going to do about it? Identify how you can prepare for and best deal with negative emotions in a healthy way. And after creating a comprehensive journey management plan, stick to it. Circumstances can change and you may consider doing things in a different way, such as following the navigation directions of a mobile phone or changing schedules. But be aware the plan is there for a reason. When conditions are difficult, slow down. This will help you focus on the road and could get you additional reaction time if it's needed. Remember to focus on the road and drive to the conditions.
The only precautions I can only take is if I've got room, I'll go around him. If not, I'll just have to wait till there's a wider area where you can overtake the bike rider, but most of the times you just got to watch what they're doing as well. Because sometimes they might put their hand out and they'll do the right-hand turn not knowing what's behind them.
The way that I feel it is driving in an area with lots of pedestrians is you have to be so alert. You have to try and predict the pedestrians' moves. You have to be aware of them. So quite often pedestrians have AirPods in their ears or are on the mobile phone while walking or that you just have to make sure because they might not have seen you. So just making sure that they've seen you and hopefully they're alert enough around heavy vehicles and other things that are going on around them, like traffic lights. Maybe don't stay so close to like the actual footpath and the bitumen to the road on corners, or even like at bus stops. Sometimes people are like quite close to the road. The bus stop is quite close to the road, so as a heavy vehicle driver, you've got to sort of make sure, wow, they're pretty close, and I'm driving past them and the impact of the truck, it's quite a force sometimes, or it could be windy that day, or it could, you just don't know what could happen. So I always sort of, check my mirror on the right-hand side and give that area space as a truck driver. Just give pedestrians space, stay away from pedestrians because it's so dangerous, like the slightest mistake or encounter with a heavy vehicle, it could be disastrous.
How do you feel when you're a pedestrian out in the road walking around?
I keep an eye out, definitely around trucks. There's also cars as well, but I know that there's spots around trucks you can't see. And not to walk in front of them, that's for sure, if they're stopped at an intersection.
Okay, to stay safe, they should pay attention to what the vehicle is doing. If it's turning, stopping or reversing, that should be focused on 100%. It's also for their safety as well, not only myself, because then it really plays on your mind after something does happen. The what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, your not concentration, but your confidence drops. You're scarred for life if something does happen. That's one biggest thing that I have in the back of my head, something happening, and you hear a lot of it on the radio, on the TV, on radio, and you see it on the phones, on Facebook, all these accidents happening because of people not concentrating and not paying attention to what the truck is doing.
Support your staff in the development of a healthy and resilient mindset to deal with challenges on the road. Provide guidance and resources to know how they can respond and not react. Studies have demonstrated that heavy vehicle driver training that includes safe interaction guidance around cyclists can result in safe driving practices overall. Make sure your drivers have regular access to training sessions where interactions with vulnerable road users are addressed. When upgrading the fleet, opt for vehicles that offer as much direct vision as possible, especially in urban environments where interactions with other road users are constant and take place in dynamic spaces. It can make all the difference.